Hey man, it's your boy TJ, man. We back with another reaction video. Why the Los Angeles Rams the most terrifying team in the NFL? I ain't gonna lie, Rams made some moves, dude.
You have a very
Rams
good
made a lot of
defense
moves. That boy
about to play
Jared
together
Verse a
again
problem
this
though.
year. You'll get better. A
That boy
really
has a
young core.
problem.
Hopefully. Then you add Devontae Adams in the
And they
mix
got
with Puka
Vontae
Nacua with the
with
running
Puka.
game. I think
They
the Rams
traded
have
Cup,
closed
but
the
they
gap
got
a little
Adams
bit,
though, so they ain't
and you
really
can
like
go
losing them.
quarterback for quarterback. Matthew Stafford,
But
Jalen
Cup
Hurts,
was like that
they
though.
can go at it.
They've improved the offensive line. They improved their defense. They added a new running back to that running back room as well. Devontae Adams with Puka Nacua.
Yeah,
And
Devontae
then
Adams,
they added
Puka, they got
Ford
Tutu.
to the middle of that defense
That
from
boy
the
Tutu.
Chargers.
They got
Guys,
Kyron
what if they
Williams.
go ahead and figure out how to
They
get
got some
Jalen
players.
Hurts?
They got
Great
Higbee,
nucleus of
but they
young
got some
talent,
players.
plus Matthew Stafford still there for at least another year. The window is open for the Rams.
Yeah, how old
The
Stafford is?
Rams have structured themselves
Y'all let me know
to be
how
one
old
of the most
Stafford is.
consistently dangerous teams in the NFL. After a Super Bowl high and a quick fall, most
Imagine if these
expected the
niggas
Rams
still
to
had
enter a
Aaron
full-blown
Donald, bro. These
rebuild.
niggas would have been more
And
dangerous.
instead, they reloaded,
Aaron Donald,
and
Jared
now
Verse,
they
I'm
might be one of the
Honeybook makes it look like I'm a team of 10 when it's really just me in the background.
And they went to the divisional
biggest threats in the
round without
entire
Devontae
NFC.
Adams. Now you
With
add
a
Devontae
mastermind
Adams
head
and other
coach, a
playmakers.
revitalized Matthew Stafford, explosive
But that's what happened, dude. When you got a veteran quarterback, a veteran coach.
young talent on both sides
shit
of the
come a long
ball
way.
and several new exciting signings, it's fair to say the ceiling is sky high at SoFi Stadium. And that's exactly why the Los Angeles
Rams
Rams
surprised a
might
lot of
be one
people
of the
last year. I ain't
scariest
thinking they was
teams
gonna make
in
it
the
that
NFL
far. I thought they was
heading
gonna be
into
first round
2025.
exit for sure.
Now, of course, let's start by taking a look back at last season and what had happened. The Rams had bounced back well in 2023, but needed to take another step primarily on the defensive side of the ball. In free agency, they patched up
Ernest
holes
Jones.
all over, bringing in Jonah Jackson on the offensive line to help push star running back Kyron Williams forward, as well as Darius Williams and Trey White at corner, and Christian
That
Roseman
boy,
at
I
linebacker.
forgot y'all had
But
Trey
most
White.
of the damage was
Trey
done in
White
the
went
draft,
back to
where they brought
Buffalo
in
though, I
Jared
think.
Verse from
I
Florida
swear
State
I
in
swear
the
I
first
seen him
round,
go back
and
to
Verse was
Buffalo.
one of the biggest steals of the draft, a consensus top 3 defensive
Yeah,
player in
yeah, this
2024,
nigga right here,
and
but
the
that boy
defensive
tough.
rookie of the year after being taken 19th
Look at that boy.
overall. The Rams then doubled down on Seminole defenders, drafting Braden Fisk in the second round before adding 2 other defensive linemen on day 3. They also added Wolverines tailback Blake Corum to add some
Blake
insurance
Corum.
behind Williams in the backfield, and
You
Cameron
like that in
Kitchens as
Michigan.
reinforcements in the
Blake
defensive
Corum, Kyle
secondary.
Williams.
Their rebuild defense had
nice
a
little
full
dude running
roster,
back.
but with a refreshed coaching staff following a mass exodus on defense to Atlanta, new defensive coordinator Chris Shula would have his hands full. The plan remains simple on offense: bruise and bash defenses with Kyron Williams, and open up passing lanes for Matthew Stafford to find Cooper Kupp and breakout star Puka Nacua. And
Damn, boy,
truthfully,
this
the path to
NFL season
success
gonna
was
be
pretty
crazy,
straightforward and
boy.
paved throughout the entire season.
Damn, I can't
but
wait. But this
just
shit
like
need to hurry up,
2023,
bro.
the Rams kind of stumbled out of the gate. They started the season 1-4 before their Week 6 bye. Just like 2023, however, the Rams also came out of their bye ready to rumble, going 9-3 the rest of the way, and the way to their success was through the run game, with the team recording 100+ yards rushing
that boy
in
Kyron
7 of the
running
9
that bit
wins.
last year, boy.
Kyron Williams was the engine of the offense, totaling almost 1,400 all-purpose yards and accounting for 30% of the team's first downs.
In the pocket, touchdown! Little pitch. Williams gonna get there and for the touchdown.
Play action, Stafford on the move, stops, finds his man, touchdown
Boy,
Williams.
Kyron.
But we definitely can't take away from the passing game because they did their fair share as well. With Matthew Stafford throwing comfortably for 3,700 yards in 16 games with 20 touchdowns and just
And that
8
Cooper Kupp
interceptions,
trade
it was a
surprised me, though. I
great
thought
mark
Cooper
following
Kupp
a
was gonna
few years
retire
blemished
around,
with
though. I ain't gonna lie.
turnovers.
Fake to Williams. Stafford fires downfield. It is caught
That
for
boy
a
Robinson.
touchdown.
Stafford back
Marcus
foot,
Robinson.
slinging for Parkinson.
Forced by Jalen Carter.
Damn, that boy Kupp
His
gonna be
connection
nice
with
on the
young
Seahawks too
Puka
with
got even
Sam
stronger,
Darnold.
with the second-year
And,
player being
Smith
LA's
Juba.
leading
You
receiver,
got Kenneth
nearly
Walker.
cracking 1,000 yards despite
boy
playing
gonna be
just
nice.
11 games. His size and separation ability
I
set
feel
him
like Miro
apart,
gonna
and
be
his
nice
hands
too, though.
were
Like, they
magnets,
build around
catching
Miro. Miro could be
75% of
nice,
his
bro.
targets and accounting for nearly 20% of Stafford's total targets on the year.
Second and goal, quick out to Nacua, and he takes it in.
They give it to Nakua, left side. He scores anyway.
That Troy Polamalu looking at niggas
The
like
team
that
definitely
boy.
didn't
That
score
boy
as many
Puka.
points that would be expected from a
Look at
McVay
that.
offense, which was
Nice
just
job,
around
Cat.
21.6 per game. But there were other pieces on the
But
team that did make up
people
for
be
it.
forgetting
The
who Matt
biggest
Stafford
improvement in the
is,
story
bro.
of the
Like,
year was on the
that Matt
defensive side of
Stafford
the
one
ball
of
in
them ones,
2024,
boy. I think
and the
niggas be
team's
forgetting who
biggest
that boy
boon by a
is.
mile was their pass
But that
rush.
Asian nigga one of them
LA
ones,
posted
boy.
Pro
Matt,
Football
he one of them
Focus's
ones.
6th best pass rushing defense in 2024, only behind teams with world beaters like TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, and the Eagles, who did win the Super Bowl with their pass
Myles
rush.
Garrett and Mason
The leaders
Brown
of this
gonna be
pass
something
rush were
too.
all either first or second year players, with all 4 recording 8 or more sacks and 3 reaching double digits by the end of the postseason run.
I ain't gonna
Kobe
lie,
Turner and
Vikings, boy,
Byron
y'all
Young
thought y'all was
were
gonna be
both
better than that.
third-round
Y'all
picks by
won
LA
all
in
them regular seasons just to
2023,
lose in the
and
first
while
round
both
to a
had
7
shown ups and
seed.
downs as rookies, their jump in
crazy.
year 2 was absolutely stunning, combining for 15.5 sacks.
Damn.
Meanwhile, the Florida State duo in Jared Verse and Braden Fisk combined for 13 sacks, with Fisk being the higher number guy. On tape, though, Verse was the one putting quarterbacks in absolute blenders.
Damn, look at
His
Tua. We still
66
beating them, though.
quarterback
Shit, I don't
raise
give a
led
damn.
the team as he recorded a pass rush win rate of almost 20%. And if I break it down for you, that basically means that every time an offensive lineman faced off against Verse, there was a 1 in 5 chance their quarterback would end up under pressure. In true pass sets and single coverage against an outside tackle, Verse was one of the
Get off
top
me.
10 most efficient players in the league.
Hey, what the
as he
fuck? Why'd
rated
I
almost
put you
perfectly
jump like
by
that?
PFF, which was on
That
par
nigga
with Chris
crazy.
Jones and Nick Bosa. He then went on to take home the 2025
Superman
Defensive
in
Rookie
his
of the
dick.
Year award with his skills and became a certified defensive leader as a rookie. LA's defense got
Yeah, I'm
dialed in
saying,
after
as
the
a
bye
rookie, though,
too,
that boy like a
averaging just under
veteran, boy,
21
rushing-
points per
that
game,
boy,
including 3 straight games of holding opponents
Ricky
under
doing
10
that.
points from weeks 15 to 17.
He's just gonna get better and
Then in
better
the
every year.
playoffs, they absolutely dominated as well. In their 2 playoff games, they recorded 16 total
that's
sacks,
Viking
tying
games.
them for the 3rd most in
But
a
they
single
killed, but Sam
postseason
Darnold,
ever,
I don't know
tied
what
with
the
a
hell you
Bills
was
team
doing that
went to the
game.
Super Bowl in the 85
It's like you got to the
Bears.
playoffs, you
And
forgot how
what's
to play.
crazy about that whole thing too is they managed doing all of that in just 2 games. The 4-star pass rushers combined for 8 of the 16,
come in.
while their teammates poured it on, especially while dismantling the Vikings. And as we all know, in the divisional round, their season sadly did come to an end to the Eagles, especially when it was being played in the snow.
It was
just a
close though. I ain't
crazy
gonna lie.
game.
Rams were playing
Like
them
after the
hard
fourth
though.
quarter touchdown drive that was followed
Eagles
by a
had to
Turner
work for
sack
that
to force
win
a
for
punt,
sure.
the Rams
Okay, so we know you're gonna watch this demo at double speed. All software
Come on, bro. I want to
engineers
watch
do.
some nigga eating
Buckle
noodles,
up,
bro.
we're
Back
keeping it
to the
quick.
reaction.
Here are
Back to
5
rounds.
Monday
Back to rounds,
all
baby.
the way down to the Philadelphia
You don't see no nigga
13-yard
eating no
line
noodles,
before
man.
Jalen Carter's sack and Puka dropped.
That boy
ended
Jalen
the
Carter, but that
season.
nigga's a
And
monster.
now,
But that's a
while we're
different
going
nigga
through this
right
video,
there. That's a
truthfully,
different
you might even
man, boy.
recognize that we haven't mentioned one guy.
I reacted to
just a
Jalen
bigger
Carter
name, I
highlights.
should
Make
say,
sure y'all check
that was
that
a
out.
part of this Rams team last
boy
year.
different.
And well, it's because Cooper Kupp was actually pretty underwhelming last season in 2024. After winning the receiving Triple Crown in 2021, Kupp was limited by injuries, and that trend kind of stayed the same in 2024 as he played just 12 games. In those games, he was still asked to be himself by Stafford, drawing 100 targets, but the
I feel like he
explosiveness
gonna
was
break
lacking
out,
from his
bro, with the
game, and he
Seahawks,
totaled
bro.
just 710
He
yards
gonna get
and
1,000
6
yards with the
touchdowns.
Seahawks this season.
And
Watch.
trust me, that's
I'm
not
telling y'all,
bad
bro.
by
He gonna
all
get
means.
1,000.
I mean, it's not great either, but when you're gonna take a $30 million cap hit from this guy, it's definitely something that you would expect a little bit more out of. And because of that, too, it was pretty clear that, well, change needed to
So
happen.
how much Vontae
At
contract
age 31,
was?
set to be 32 before the 2025
I gotta see how much
season,
Vontae,
the Rams tried to shop Kupp
contract is.
around, but wound up cutting him before the roster bonuses hit against the cap, leading the Super Bowl 56 MVP to sign with the Seattle Seahawks. So now
Yeah,
with
you
Puka
cut
Nacua
it him.
set
I
to
about to
fully
trade
step in
him,
as
try to get
wide
some
receiver
value
one,
from
the
him.
Rams decided to bring in former Packer, Raider, and Jet Devontae
I don't think
Adams
nobody
as
wouldn't
their
take all
new
that
veteran
money.
pass catcher. He definitely is at a similar age to Kupp, which is kind of what made the move
That boy
so
Vontae,
confusing to
boy.
fans, but it clicked in terms of availability and
One of
how
my
much
best
Adams
receivers.
seems to have left in the tank.
Vontae, boy, that
Like, as
nigga
crazy as
nice.
it sounds too, the 6-time Pro Bowler is 3 yards in 2019 away from 7 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons and has been more of a consistent red zone threat throughout his career than anyone on the Rams roster. And don't get me wrong, because Puka is definitely still going to be the primary option, but Adams can open up the field a little bit more for Stafford as a passer. And with Kupp gone as the primary slot receiver, Puka will be more comfortable playing wherever he will be able to get the biggest impact on the field. And from there too, pretty much the rest of the offseason was focused on just getting their offensive and defensive lines better. After trading Jonah Jackson to the Bears for draft compensation, they replaced him with ironically former Bear Coleman Shelton. They also opened up the bank account for the Chargers standout D lineman and Ford, a veteran to anchor a group of young firecrackers. Free agency was overall pretty relatively quiet for the Rams, mostly dedicated to retaining depth pieces like Witherspoon and special teams players like Ronnie Rivers. The draft, however, that kind of showed everybody how confident the Rams are in their roster. At the bottom of the first round, despite having multiple top corners still on the board, the Rams traded down with the Falcons, admittedly for an absolute haul, passing on drafting a player until 46 overall. And personally for me, I think that was a fantastic trade because now that trade basically did give them, hopefully, a much better quarterback draft in 2026. So that way they can find Matthew Stafford's successor. But it also was a great move too because, well, that move showed how much faith the front office has in the roster that they've already built outside of the draft. With that second rounder from the Falcons, the Rams drafted Terrence Ferguson from Oregon, one of the best tight ends on the board after the top two guys were taken. Then they added Josiah Stewart, another star pass rusher, to contribute to their dominant line. Other front seven picks included Ty Hamilton from Ohio State and Chris Paul Jr. from Ole Miss, a serious steal in the 5th round. One of the more underrated picks of the Rams draft, however, was Jarquez Hunter, a running back from Auburn. I mean, despite being a 4th-round pick, Hunter has already shown out in Rams OTAs, and McVay's excitement in draft day videos shows just how good of a fit this back might be for this offense. So if I were you, I would keep an eye on Hunter as a number 2 to Kyren Williams if Blake Corum doesn't take the leap that they want him to this year. And yes, while they didn't add to the secondary, the Rams did show faith in their offensive staff and made their pass rushers even more dangerous. But we definitely have to go back to Sean McVay, though, and truthfully just kind of be more realistic, I should say, about what to expect out of this Rams offense now. With a bunch of jumbled up pieces last season, they still managed to have big playability, and it was thanks to the creativity of McVay and the talent of Matthew Stafford. And I mean, truthfully, ever since the rough 2022 season, it feels like McVay has become sneakily underrated. Like, we've seen a lot of these younger coaches rise to the top, like Ben Johnson.
Sean McVay always been underrated. Sean McVay always been a good coach.
Despite being a 2-time NFC champion and Super Bowl winning head coach, all in the last decade. Like, the dude consistently fields great offenses, and his coaching tree is one of the most vast in the NFL.
McVay a good coach for sure. I'd love to have McVay in Miami, though.
With no expectations.
I know that'll never happen, though.
And after the promise that this Rams team showed with a young defense and a broken down Cooper Kupp last season, they're ready to absolutely go off in 2025. Now, in that same vein, too, let's not pretend that Matthew Stafford is going to somehow fall off of a cliff in 2025. Yes, does he take a hit every once in a while late in the season where you think he's going to just kind of, his career's going to end? Yes, but the dude still can play some good football. Like, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, too, he's 37, which statistically is nowhere near the fall-off age of historical greats with similar athletic profiles like Brett Favre, which he does resemble. And Stafford has really always been a tank, and with such a great offense around him, he won't be taking nearly as many sacks, with the number consistently hanging around 30 since he got to LA. When he is healthy, he's always come close or passed for 4,000 yards per season, and his touchdown numbers have dipped, but only as a credit to the great run game they've established behind him. As a unit, this Rams offense is going to be absolutely deadly in 2025. Stafford is projected to stick around 3,700 yards passing, while Nacua is expected to go absolutely nuclear, with his receiving yards line over 1,200 yards.
I think Nacua changed his number. Damn, you let Devontae come and steal your number, dog. You let a nigga come take your number, bro. You been here before him, bro. You gonna let him take your number? 1,000 yards on the ground again, even with the additions of Hunter to the running back room. As a whole, the offense just got deeper and better constructed with the additions of Ferguson and Adams to the offense. Every single player on the field on a given offensive snap could be explosive with the ball, which is a rare thing that some teams want to Devontae Adams on the Packers, boy, that's different. Which is something about him and Rodgers connection. Just something about it, bro.
On top of that, too, the defense has doubled down on having the scariest pass rush in football, with the additions of Ford and Josiah Stewart looking like icing on the cake. And yes, there are a few questions in the secondary, but nothing matters if the opposing quarterbacks are eating turf every other play. With a second-year Jared Verse and Brady Fisk hunting alongside a seasoned Kobe Turner and Byron Young, it may even be more often than not that the quarterback is eating turf. Add in the fact, too, that the NFC is full of questions with the 49ers and Lions in flux, while the Vikings and Seahawks test out new quarterbacks. The only real threat to the Rams are the Bucs, who LA is more talented than, and the Commanders, who are facing a Jaden Daniels sophomore slump, and the Eagles, who the Rams pushed closer to the edge than any other team last postseason. With their incredible coaching staff having survived the vultures of the offseason, they will be able to keep their momentum from last year and finally get off to a good start. If they can avoid the rocky first few weeks that have plagued them over the past few seasons, there's no reason that the LA Rams can't win 12 or more games and maybe even take the NFC 1 seed. There's no doubt about it, every team in the NFC, Philadelphia included, should be scared of the LA Rams.
And we are back for overtime. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the couch again. Had to come over here because, well, this is where I wanted to sit today. I'm gonna be honest. It's a couple days later than I had already wanted to.
Wait, this is a part of the video?
We're on the couch. We got the doggo chilling, dead asleep, probably waking him up from his nap. We're watching some TV. And I thought it would be a good idea for us to hop into overtime and for us to talk about the LA Rams because, well, the LA Rams, I think, are going to be a serious threat.
Yeah, they're going to be serious for sure.
Philadelphia Eagles and just for the entire NFC this year. I truly do think that just the Philadelphia Eagles are going to feel threatened. The Philadelphia Eagles could have lost that NFC.
I really like Rams to win their division.
Against the Rams last year had
I really like Rams to win their division. Cardinals, Seahawks.
Had Jalen Carter not sacked Matthew Stafford on the goal line. If he
Seahawks probably don't get
sack,
him the most
Rams might be winning the Super Bowl last year. And I mean, based off what we saw too from what happened in the Super Bowl, the Rams have a very similar build to what the Philadelphia Eagles have. Not the exact same, but very similar at least. And I think they could have won the Super Bowl had they gotten there. But start the time.
That would have been crazy. Rams won the Super Bowl that year. Everybody would have been looking crazy.
Overall, though, I really do think that with the additions that the Rams have made from this past offseason and just the growth we saw of this defense last year, they are a threat. I mean, truthfully, Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, I think that's how you say it.
I forgot 49ers in the division. Yeah, but 49ers lost a lot of players.
I was reading it too fast.
I don't know how the 49ers going to be next season.
I'm sorry.
They added some players, but they lost a lot of key players too, so I don't know how they going to be. I got the Rams in the division, though. Then I got Seattle second.
Okay, everybody in the comment section that already
joined
in the
49ers, then y'all know
and then
who
left the video. I'm sorry. So hopefully you're here.
I just don't believe in the Cardinals team.
Correct me still. But yeah, overall, I think those two guys played exceptionally well. I mean, hell, Verse won Defensive Rookie of the Year last year, and he was almost like the leader of that young defense. And we were watching them grow and get better throughout the entire season last year. You know, in that,
I was watching
the
Rams,
the postseason actually,
and I watched
they had
Verse
the most
too.
Quarterback hits or rushes out of any team in the playoffs, and they only played 2 games. I said it in the video, just double check, but that's absolutely insane. Like, and then they went out and they retooled. They brought in Ford and some other guys in the draft too. Like, they retooled. They didn't lose anybody. And if you, like I said, if you want to call Cooper Kupp them losing somebody, Davante Adams replaced him.
They got Davante Adams replacement.
I just don't see where they got.
And Davante Adams better than Cooper Kupp to me. I don't care what none of y'all, bro. Davante Adams. They lost Cooper Kupp and what Cooper Kupp did for them. Yeah, Cooper Kupp is a good ass receiver. Yeah. But they replaced him with Davante Adams, and they kept Puka Nacua. So it's like what they really lost, and they add a lot of shit in free agency and the job. So what the Rams really lost?
Matthew Stafford, who I do think
Davante Adams really an upgrade over Cooper Kupp.
A couple more years in him, play well, and they are inside of their
He
Super
a bigger
Bowl
body receiver.
100% because of how
to
they
me, he
drafted
catch
all
better
the
than
guys
him,
that have
better route runner.
Panned out because of what's needed.
What can Cooper Kupp do that Davante Adams can't?
He almost kind of reminds me of this team again. I'm going to keep saying it. They remind me of an Eagles team, but they're not as like full of like big powerhouse names yet. You know, I mean, they do have
Eagles,
Stafford, Davante Adams, Kyren Williams.
They close though. I don't know about
Eagles. Become household names.
Eagles,
I mean,
they fully
Stafford,
set.
obviously, and Adams obviously already are.
I feel like they might win the Super Bowl again.
Just that,
but they on the Madden curse. Y'all know how that is.
Very similar to what the
when
Eagles
that nigga on that Madden
been
curse,
building for a while, especially with
it's over, brother. It's over.
Was very young a couple of years ago, and then they grew into each other. They grew into that defense, and they made it to the Super Bowl. They did lose to the Chiefs that first time, but then they came back the second time and absolutely dominated them. It's almost what we're seeing happen in LA too. Is They didn't make it to the Super Bowl, obviously, but they gave the Super Bowl champions probably the best game of their postseason to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, they gave Eagles a run for their money.
And now this year they retooled, didn't lose anything, and I for sure I think they have
the
a chance.
Rams almost won, though it wasn't for that Jalen Carter stuff.
Personally, for me, the NFC West is an absolute crapshoot. I just think that it's kind of funny because it's almost like the Rams, I mean, not the Rams, the Niners are expected to win that division. And then if they don't win the NFC West, everybody's like, well, that's okay. It's just a down year.
Wait, my bad. Let me switch it up. I know what I said. I still got Rams win the division, though. Then I'm going to put San Francisco at number 2. Then I'm going to put Seahawks at 3, and then Arizona.
The Niners.
4.
It's never, the Rams were freaking good this year. No. It's always that it was just an off year for the Niners. Like, no, I think that
the Niners had too much injury.
Going to win this division. Like, personally for me, I'm probably going to place a future for the Rams to either win the NFC or win the Super Bowl or both.
Rams definitely making playoffs this year for sure.
I think that they are
definitely making playoffs
this
year for sure.
They do have a little bit harder of a schedule than the Niners, but if the Rams can manage those 3 or 4 games that are a little bit harder than the Niners, why can't the Rams be a 1 or a 2 seed in this conference? Like, it just amazes me that a lot of people seem to not have liked the signing of Davante Adams, but
I don't know why.
He's better than Cooper Kupp was last year.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, bro. He's better than Cooper Kupp in general, bro. That's why, like, what's wrong? I understand, bro. Y'all fanboys. He been on the team for a little minute, so y'all gonna be on him. But come on, Davante Adams better than Cooper Kupp, bro. And anybody, like, if you watch football, you would know.
Now when you pair him with Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams, and the tight end that they have too that they drafted, I forget his name. I can't think of it right now off the top of my head. They are set and good to go. And then the defense, I keep bringing up the defense. I cannot explain it how much I love this defense, how good they are. Now, for me, let me know in the comment section what you guys think, because truthfully, I don't really know if not Davante Adams. I don't really know if Jalen Ramsey is going to take this defense to the next level. For me, cornerback that old, past his
I ain't gonna lie, y'all get Jalen Ramsey back, dude. That's definitely a big plus for y'all, though. Y'all get Jalen Ramsey back, y'all definitely might be that Super Bowl contender team.
That's their opinion. For me, I still think
they get Ramsey back, though. They might be that Super Bowl contender team, though. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all get Ramsey.
It might be a little bit of a stretch. I think he's kind of past his prime, and they shouldn't.
I ain't gonna lie, we about to trade him anyway.
But who knows? I mean,
they don't want to be in Miami no more.
And maybe he has flashes of prime Jalen Ramsey and becomes a superstar again for the Rams.
Probably could trade Ramsey for like a second, third, try to get some value from him.
But
he's still that boy. He still got
to. Let me know in the comment section: are the Rams contenders, pretenders? Are they just going to win the NFC West? Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. And as always, if you made it to overtime, comment overtime. And
I ain't gonna lie, I got Rams for sure winning that division. I just don't see, like, San Francisco, I feel like they're going to make it competitive. I feel like it's going to be them and San Francisco going at it. Seahawks and Arizona going to be in the bottom of that division. I just don't feel like they roster that good enough. Well, Seahawks might compete there too, but Arizona, nah. But Rams going to be tough this year for sure, though.